It seemed at least like just another night at the Frost residence. Known for their entrepreneurial spirit, Kirk and Rasheeda have been making an effort to maintain their marriage by juggling their commitments to their families and their enterprises. Beneath the outward problems, however, there were rumbling rumors about Kirk's loyalty to Rasheeda and her growing annoyances as they navigated the wild and glamorous world of reality TV. Few couples have affected viewers as much as Kirk and Rasheeda Buckner-Frost. Drama, love, betrayal, and ambition have all been part of their journey through hip-hop, ambition, and love. However, recent events have startled their fan base and turned their once-envied relationship into a controversy that garners media attention. Although the event would have made for fascinating entertainment, this was, alas, real life. As the evening wore on, the mood became increasingly heated. What began as a discussion about common household issues quickly turned into a violent altercation, including loud voices and derogatory remarks. The neighbors reported a domestic disturbance to 911 because they were alarmed by the loudness. When the police arrived at the Frost home, there was a palpable sense of unease. After conversing with all sides and conducting a brief assessment of the situation, the police made the decision to arrest Kirk. Rasheeda was crying uncontrollably, and her eyes were swollen and red. As soon as the news emerged, those who had followed the couple through their highs and lows on social media exploded in shock, surprise, and concern, and Downs had to acknowledge the fact that their beloved companion was now entangled in such a grave situation. Rasheeda stoked the fire with an impassioned Instagram post. "I should be protected and treated with dignity. I never imagined having to deal with this." As the narrative developed, it became evident that fundamental problems that had harmed their relationship for years had led to this, rather than just being an angry outburst. She was portrayed in the story in a way that both highlighted her vulnerability and power. Insiders in the entertainment business conjectured about the toll reality television celebrity may have on private lives in the aftermath of the fallout, creating a powder keg of emotions waiting for the right ignite. When struggling with inner concerns, the drive to create a faultless picture can ignite an explosive combination of emotions. Despite their differences, some banded together to support Rasheeda and urge her to put her safety first. Some fans expressed their disapproval of the tension that was evident in both online and real-world settings, while others declared their loyalty to Kirk and pleaded for sympathy and understanding, pointing out how much they had been through. In her quest for comprehension and recovery, Rasheeda resorted to her close friends and family for assistance. She thought back on her marriage as well as the advantages and disadvantages of every romantic trip they had made together, each of which seems to have been followed by a feeling of betrayal or disappointment. While their lives were presented to the cameras as black and white, the truth was far more complex. Kirk had to cope with the legal ramifications of his conduct, the event's effects, and the real status of his marriage prior to his court date. As he prepared for his court appearance, he expressed his anguish and bewilderment by saying, "I love Rasheeda, and I want to make things right." But the road to reconciliation was anything but clear. The anticipation of the court hearing grew as the day drew nearer, prompting concerns about whether Kirk would take responsibility for his actions and if Rasheeda would choose to continue with him or not. The drama was reminiscent of the most compelling episodes of Love and Hip Hop, but with larger stakes. Rasheeda was determined to put her own and her children's health first. Her close friends reported that she was examining her choices and wondering what life would be like without Kirk. Higher, since they were aware of what would transpire. A caution about love constancy and the difficulties of forming interpersonal connections is conveyed in the story's epilogue. Under the glitz and glamour of reality TV, real lives are in danger, as the tale of Kirk and Rasheeda has come to represent. The future was unclear, but Frost's voyage was guaranteed. Leaning on the smooth countertop of his luxurious studio, Kirk Frost prepared to reveal a shocking truth that had shook the entertainment industry. His expression conveyed a mixture of astonishment and simmering wrath as the weight of his admission hung heavy. His ex-wife and former partner, Rasheeda, was accused of stealing $9 million from their joint ventures. It's not just rumor. This is a reality I've been fighting with for far too long. Kirk started out by speaking gently and quite impassionedly. The fact that she had been embezzling money from us seemed like a complex betrayal since I trusted her. The studio, which used to be a center for creativity and teamwork, now has a hostile environment. Kirk felt a pang of regret and yearning as he thought back to their early days together. Together, they built a booming music industry empire, turning their aspirations into a well-known brand with lifestyle and fashion divisions. Hard work and mutual respect, or at least that's what Kirk thought was the secret to their success. Nevertheless, as the company expanded, so did the challenges. Kirk shook his head, the memories coming back. I thought it was just mismanagement or accounting errors, he added. However, I started looking more closely after seeing little at first, but progressively large discrepancies in their financial status. It felt like seeing the house of cards fall apart in front of my eyes when I discovered records of transfers that made no sense. The problem worsened when he chose to have the accounts examined by a forensic accountant. When the news eventually arrived, it was a punch to the gut. The data painted a troubling picture of betrayal, including hidden activity and forbidden withdrawals that directly implicated Rasheeda. He replied, barely raising his voice above a whisper, devastating to see those statistics. It's one thing to disagree on business issues, but this was outright theft. Kirk's sense of impending doom grew with each passing day while he anticipated the results. His heart was pounding. I didn't feel well. The statistics glittered as Kirk recalled the moment the accountant handed him the report. A representation of misplaced faith and crushed hopes. The Kirk v. Rasheeda trend on social media caused a social media explosion as people devoured every detail of the couple's tumultuous, passionate, and contentious past. Supporters and admirers of Kirk and Rasheeda expressed shock and dismay with their responses. I would never fully recover from the horror of discovering that the person I trusted the most was defrauding me of the money I had invested in creating our firm. Kirk paused to think on their relationship and the highs and lows they had experienced together over the years as the drama grew more intense. I never thought it would come to this. It feels like I'm losing not just a business partner, but someone who was once my best friend, stated Kirk. Rasheeda remained silent, which just fueled conjecture. Seated in the studio among remnants of their former common objectives, Kirk vented his fury by yelling, I want answers. She needs to give me an explanation for what she did and why she thought she could get away with it. We built this together. It's not just about the money. Desperate to reclaim what was lost, Kirk started looking into his legal options. Since the loss concerned more than just money, rather, it included integrity and respect, he felt obliged to act. I am determined to keep this empire that I have worked so hard to build with no mercy. Organizing his next move and consulting a lawyer, their combined personal and professional lives would surely be turned upside down by this revelation, and there may even be legal ramifications. While Kirk handled this, how would this affect their connection with supporters? Buckner-Frost's revelation of Rasheeda's alleged betrayal, together with the rough surf he endured, cleared the path for a gripping story that would captivate audiences. Beneath the glitz and extravagance of their public personas lay a convoluted network of emotions, hurt, betrayal, and the unsolved mystery of how love could become so sour. With his enlightenment, he armed himself for the battle ahead. A renewed sense of purpose. I owe it to myself and to our legacy to see this through, he said. Kirk went on to explain that his determination hardened and he wouldn't back down in the face of criticism and reassurances from friends and supporters that he wasn't fighting this war alone and that it ultimately came down to accountability. Put an end to the viewers. Kirk felt he had to get ready for the storm that was coming, because soon the actual situation would, notwithstanding the uncertainty of the future. One thing was certain: the conflict between love and treachery would take unexpected twists, keeping viewers on the edge of their seats to find out how this exciting chapter would end. With each step Kirk took across the poorly lighted living room, a swelling wave of betrayal and hatred washed over him. Rasheeda's revelation had overtaken him to the point that he was barely able to talk. "You really did it," he remarked in a choking, thick voice. "You cheated on me." With her arms crossed and a defiant expression on her face, Rasheeda stood. "Kirk, you seem to believe that you're the only one who enjoys themselves occasionally. I did not come here to lay blame." Fury and confusion seeped into his heart. "If anyone else I knew who..." "Did you really? I should probably just give up and move on." "You don't get to question me because you had your fair share of late nights and whisper conversations. Do you really think I would ignore it?" She crept closer, a deadly glint in her eyes. "Though you left me with a negative feeling, I felt like we were creating something real." With a scowl, Kirk said, "Well, welcome to the club." Her breathing became more rapid. "It's not about getting even, it's about defending myself." Her arrogance twitched just enough to reveal the agony behind the wrath, and her voice faltered. "I can no longer stand to put up with this." He raked a hand through his hair, devastated by misbehavior. "You now have a rationale. You thought that by only cheating back, you might obtain. When I moved forward in the hopes that you might alter," his voice became more steady as he tried to remain composed. "A person who is trampled upon, so why didn't you simply inform me instead of confronting me about my actions?" "I never wanted that. I thought we were in this together," he murmured, realizing that her spark had flickered out. "I have to admit that I couldn't have waited for you to decide. You made me less valuable. This taken together, do you think I wanted to be the one to tell the lie? I felt invisible to you, and every time I attempted to talk to you, it was like striking a brick wall. I thought I was at a loss on what to do." Rasheeda shook her head, tears shimmering in the corners of her eyes. Kirk drew a deep breath, his face softening as the seriousness of her words registered. "I never realized that by keeping things light, I was attempting to protect you. Tell us falsehoods to keep us afloat." He took another step forward, his rage concealing his weakness. She fired back, but her tone had dulled. "A friendship cannot be built on half-truths and silence. I apologize. I had assumed I could handle things on my own. Please tell me what you want right now. I didn't want to hurt you." "Kirk," in an almost whisper, she questioned, "what do you want from us now?"